ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. It's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he, and we're back for another week of talk, conversation, debate, and a little bit of foolishness since CJ joined us. Anyway, so thanks everybody for tuning in. We are streaming live and direct on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, LinkedIn, Facebook Live. We are on Instagram. And also YouTube TV. Please help us with our drive for 10,000. Please help us with our drive. Thanks, Lord. Help us on our drive to 10,000 subscribers by searching for Empower TV on YouTube. Please click on the little bell. It'll let you know when we are putting in new content, when we go live. But also like and most importantly share and let other people know out there the content that you're watching and what you like. Hopefully we can get them to do the same as well, and that's how we grow this grassroots network. And if you're on any of the other streaming platforms outside of Amazon Fire TV and Roku TV, please feel free to hit that share, or if you're on LinkedIn, hit that repost. So that other people can also tune in and see what it is that you've taken an interest in. For those that haven't seen the show before, welcome. We talk heavily about politics, but dabble into other things as well. And one of the biggest things that I always tell people is that whether you acknowledge it or not, politics plays a role in damn near everything that you do in life. So there is some kind of political lean, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to think that deep about it or not. Being in the know politically about things should help shape the way that you approach voting, different issues that come up. Again, when you talk about voting, not when people think about voting, they think about voting for president. There are so many other things that appear on a ballot in addition to voting every 4 years for president. We vote for the U.S. House of Representatives every 2 years, the Senate every 6 years. There are just so many folks that we put in office to make decisions on our behalf that a lot of them count on the fact that you will be so distracted with everyday life. You'll be so distracted with your favorite football team. You're going to be distracted by your favorite reality show. You're going to be distracted by your kids. You're going to be distracted by all of the other things that go on in your life. That the one thing that you won't be focused on is what they doing while they in office. And we have to become more, in my opinion, vigilant about who it is that we put in public office, and when they're not doing their job, as if you weren't doing your job, you get a couple of warnings, and then they go ahead and boot you on up out of there. Some of y'all find out in some really crazy ways, like the email stop working. You go scan your badge don't open the door. All kinds of ways you start to find out that, hey, they don't want you anymore. And the way that these folks have to find out that we don't want them anymore is with our vote. We have to use our vote as our voice. Even when you think about top 500 Fortune 500 companies and everything, they have a board of directors, and the CEO is accountable to that board. And if that CEO isn't performing the way they want to, that board can get together and vote your ass out. And they do that in corporate America too. So votes for a very long time have been a voice that has changed the shape and direction of companies, countries, what have you. So your voice matters. If your voice didn't matter, there wouldn't be so many efforts to try to extinguish your voice. There wouldn't be as much gerrymandering as we have going on. There wouldn't be as much, stop different things like early voting and mail-in ballots. And my opinion when it comes to voting, voting almost needs to be really, really easy. It needs to be to the point, but they would have to figure out the logistics. But it almost needs to be a point where you should just be able to log in and vote. They keep talking about, well, how do we know it's not that person? How do we know it's the real person voting and they ain't give their username? You know what? Okay, that can happen. But I think at the end of the day, voting is a right, privilege. It's something that if you're a certain age, you should be able to do. And anybody that tries to um, impede your ability to vote, um, that's something that you should be aware of and figure out, hey, why are they trying to put our votes out like that? So, but I'm going to welcome in my panel. I could go all day about voting. We have Lori Parker. How you doing, Lori?
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Okay, that was nice. All right, we got Mr. CJ Jones. How you doing, sir? Welcome back.
Hey guys, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I apologize for the in and out just then. I didn't realize I was, you know, wasn't public ready.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, that's all good. There's always a difference. And last but not least, let's say hello to the franchise, Mr. Jermaine Parker. How you doing, sir?
I believe they say the last of us shall be the first of us, and that's why I'm always late.
All right, all right, all
Well,
right.
I'm gonna be first last or last first.
However it works out.
And Anthony's joined in. Anthony, thank you for joining us as always, bro. Always appreciate your support. Uh, whether it's on this show or on our head-to-head sports that airs every Wednesday during the NFL season at 7 p.m. with me and my host Randall Hargrove, where we break down the NFL, the games that happened that previous week, and the ones that are coming up for the following week, which we do all the way through the Super Bowl. So basically, 6 months out of the year, the show is up and running, already in its fifth season, as well as this particular show is in its fifth season. But Anthony asked a question, and Anthony, I want to dive into that because that's a great question. Just asking, do you trust early voting through the mail? Don't it make you think it might get lost? The answer is yes and no. I do trust early voting, and no, I don't worry about it getting lost because now you can actually track your ballot through the mail and make sure that once it leaves your house, it gets scanned, and you can follow and see it all the way to the Board of Elections. So that is definitely something. Now, what I worry more about is what happened in Phoenix, where some fool decided they wanted to light a mailbox on fire that had ballots in it. And listen, again, like I started the show talking about, if your vote didn't matter, why would people do all these crazy things to to silence you? Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and make a public service announcement. Do not light mailboxes on fire, whether they got ballots in it or not, because both will get your ass put in jail for a very, very long time. You can't even sit there if you're not the postman and touch regular people's mailbox. That will
Correct.
get your ass in jail.
Yes, sir.
Like if you want to just sit there and think, oh, I'm gonna just put stuff in people's mailboxes, don't do it. Don't do it.
I think Anthony's question really just hits at the heart of people distrusting the system
Yes,
and
it does.
what Trump has brought to election by just select security by questioning the validity of the systems that have. In fact, he's the only one that's actually trying to press the systems. Um, when you look at voter fraud, when you look at all the things that have gone on over years, documented that we have access and data to and stuff, like my brother said, I wouldn't be worried about it. In fact, I would doubt in the last before 8 years ago or 9 years ago when he started running that you would have doubted it either.
Right.
And again, that's just, and he's just sowing malcontent and disillusion into the election process so that he can challenge it later on when he does not win.
Yeah.
Right.
Again.
Let me bounce off of what you just said just then. And yes, we are all in agreement. Let me bring my volume down. I'm sorry. How about that?
You good?
You guys good? Okay.
You good.
Yeah. As far as Trump's administration did exactly what they absolutely set out to do, and that was to sow the seed of doubt. And we are seeing it manifest time and time again, in all kinds of ways, and especially, I mean, just look at our brothers' legitimate concern, but then it takes people like you, Brian, and like you, bro. It says it's our job to help re-educate. I'll say it like that, or educate, and let people know the system works. You know, the safeguards are there for a reason, and they can be trusted. But because you had this clown in there for so long, calling himself trying to challenge, the system and make a joke out of it and everything else, not realizing that the majority of the United States population truly do stand on just the founding laws of this country, which is our rights and our privileges and everything. And they may be red, but they also have common sense. And we need to bring common sense back to this country.
I think a big thing there, CJ, is that people just, again, like you said, sowing seeds of doubt in our institutions and stuff. Why should we trust this process and stuff? Because we've always trusted it, and there are a lot of hardworking individuals that work in the private sector and government to make sure that our elections are safe. That Trump speaks out about early voting and stuff. But you got to understand, like mail-in ballots. Like, my mom just turned 72 years old. She's not in the best of health right now. She's not feeling well or back. She's got some stuff going on. Mail-in ballots, but her vote counts, right? The fact that she's not able to sit in long lines and stand up for long periods of time doesn't mean that her voice should be silenced and stuff. That's why these things are there, and it's almost unimaginable, un-American, if you will, that somebody would challenge these things. But there's a purpose behind it, so that's why they do it.
And I'll piggyback on that, Jermaine. You're right. And even the crazy part is this whole thing that Trump promotes, talking about there should only be one day of voting, and that's voting day, and everybody goes in and votes. Yet he votes early all the time. He criticizes mail-in ballots, and him and Melania mail in their votes. So it's only certain mail-in ballots that bother him. And he's not a fool in the fact that, statistically speaking, most early ballots lean Democrat. Statistically speaking. And that a lot of that is a testament to the fact that it's not that Democrats are more punctual. Far be it. What it is a lot of Democrats on election day can't take off the time from work. They gotta go to work.
So you bring that up, and just real quick,
Yeah.
One of the things that has been talked about for years, instead of having Columbus Day, we should have Election Day, right?
Yes.
Everybody, it's a holiday, and so so one of the things I always say about a lot of politicians, especially Republicans in this new era and stuff, is that they're about creating chaos with no solutions.
Yep.
And so they bring up things and make up things. If you're truly concerned about the welfare of children, maybe a ban on assault rifles and common sense guns laws. Um, if you really care about children and stuff, maybe you fund everybody eats school lunch and stuff. Lunch is free. Our universal health care. I mean, there's a lot. If you're concerned about women, you stop putting laws into place about bodies and stuff. But if in examples on that line with elections, if you're concerned about voter security and mail-in voting and stuff, make it a holiday so everybody has the opportunity to go do it. So I mean, there are solutions, but but when you ask and present these solutions to the problems that they're quote unquote creating, they don't have them. I'm sorry, brother. I just wanted to.
No. You're absolutely right. But so really, it comes down to Republicans know that their base of voters vote on election.
Uh-huh.
So limiting how many days mail-in ballots can happen, uh, requirements for early voting, and then they get even to the point where, okay, so you send in your mail-in ballot and you put in who you wanted to vote for, but because you forgot to sign your name on it or put it in the envelope right or something like that. Now they want to come up with ways to actually toss your ballot out. Oh, it's invalid. It's invalid. He didn't sign the back of it. Okay, there's a remedy process that if you really want to make sure that it was him that signed it, there's a remedy process where they have a certain amount of time to remedy their ballot without you just saying, "Oh, we just throw it out because of a procedural mistake." They feed off of that too, where oh no, those were returned and it wasn't returned the way that it was supposed to, so now they don't count because they still know that a majority of early ballots are likely going to lean Democratic. Then they come up with these other things where, oh, if they come in early, you can't start counting them until election day. Why? They can't change their mind. Once I mail in a ballot, I can't show up at the board of elections and go, yo, I mailed in a ballot 4 weeks ago, but you know what? I just found out that Trump was a fascist and I don't want to vote for him. You can't do that. So, but they say, well, we don't want them to count before election day. You know why they don't really want them to count before election day? Because a lot of board of elections have different processes as to what votes get counted first. So most precincts close at 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, normally, where if early voting and mail-in ballots had already been counted, you'll see a surge of results. You'll be like, damn, they just closed at 7 o'clock. How is it at 7:02? They got 40% reported. How did they count them that fast? Those are the early ballots that came in. Those are the mail-in ballots that came in that they were able to open up first. Or what'll happen is a lot of times they will go ahead and tabulate all the ones that happen on same day. And if they do the ones that tabulate on same day, it'll look like the Republican has this strong lead. And then during the course of the night, their lead gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then at sometimes the Democrat will overtake them. And that's when they want to say, see, they stealing because this person was leading and now all of a sudden they're losing. It's not all of a sudden. It's the fact that then they're counting absentee, mail-in votes, early voting, and now because those lean so heavily blue, then it starts to tilt the scale. But they want to lead you to believe, and like Jermaine said, cast doubt that everything is on the up and up.
Well, and it's purposeful, right? Because
Very.
a lot of states made laws where they could not count early voting before election day. So they say all of a sudden these votes came in. No. They put a law in place They could have had that early voting counting early, when polls open up. Hey, they're ahead by this. The reason they did that too is two-part. The one that we're talking about, where they're sowing doubt into the counting process, but the other part is that they didn't want to deter voter turnout because, again, primarily who does the early voting? Democrats. If you see that your horse is losing, why even go to the track and make a bet?
Right.
And so they didn't want those numbers to come out at the beginning of the day that, so Trump's losing by, it's going to take a Herculean effort. And somebody's like, man, I'm not Hercules and I'm not going out there
For nothing.
for nothing and stuff. I'm not going to waste my time if this is what the results are. And so that was the reason they put those laws in. And then, so like I say, twofold. One, to not deter people from voting. And again, when we say people, we mean Republicans. And we say not to
Thank you
deter
for clearing that up.
Well, I mean, I don't, I can code switch. I do, I've had regular jobs. It's always been status.
Yeah, because everything is both sides.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is both sides.
Hey, look, if you watch the show regularly, at least I hadn't tied it into the history of racism.
There is some of that in there.
But we gonna get there. We gonna get there.
Yeah, we can get. I'm sorry, Anthony had threw in when we were talking about the ballots. He says, or they say you didn't fill in the whole circle. Yeah, they're trying to find a reason.
Oh yeah.
Try to qualify you.
And that's the thing, right? Why one part? So it's like there's a meme out there. The party that bans and burns books has never been in the right. The people that try to disassociate you or take away your rights has never been in the right. There's never been a group that has tried to ostracize citizens and their rights that has been on the more. And so when you look at how Republicans behave when it comes towards, like when they did the recounts in the last major election stuff, what did they recount? They recounted the population centers most occupied by minorities.
Yep.
They didn't want to throw out white. They wanted to throw out your votes. I mean, and again, you can say that I'm wrong, but just go look it up and you can see that I'm right.
Oh, he brings it up all the time. He won't say all of Michigan. He'll say Detroit. He'll say all of Pennsylvania. He'll say Philadelphia.
Right, exactly. All of that is very strategic, and all of that is very strategic and on purpose.
Yeah, look at where the recounts were in Georgia.
Yeah, Fulton County.
Yeah.
Fulton County.
Wasn't in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district.
No, it was any district that did not have him in the lead.
Look,
I mean,
even in Texas, which he won, they still wanted to recount Houston. Wonder why? I mean,
I don't know, because maybe a bunch of us is there.
Yeah, but you won the state.
Yeah.
And
what
you understand is it takes millions of dollars in your hard-earned taxpayer money to put on an election.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's a necessary thing. But what really is a slap in the face is when they run recount after recount. Okay, we done 3 hand recounts. We done brought in an auditing company to come and to find out, we the winning party actually gained a few more votes.
That's my part. You took the words right from me. Come to find out that it was actually more for the party that whooped your behind.
Right, and then you're filing all these baseless lawsuits against the Attorney General and the Board of Elections. You're trying to bring in sycophants to be in, and that's again, like y'all, why I talk about have to make sure who we are electing for even these Board of Elections, because a lot of these people have ministerial roles in that once the votes have come in, they still have to, from a ministerial role, sign off on the votes and then send it to the next level. All of those levels have different due dates to them that eventually leads you to the December 15th date where they have to be certified by the state so that by January the 6th,
It's
they
all accounted for.
appear to Congress, where
Mhm.
again, the president of the Senate, aka the vice president, holds a ministerial role in then certifying off the will of the people.
Now say that one more time for the people in the back there, B, about the role of the vice president.
It is a ministerial role.
A ceremonial.
Because if y'all don't think it's a ceremonial role, this is what I want to know if y'all okay with. If Trump does win, are y'all okay with the president of the Senate saying, I want some alternate slates of electors? And, now they're not worried about that, because the thing is that if she were to do that, it wouldn't work out for her anyway, because it would throw the ballots back to the states. And because there are more red states than blue states, and each state would have a vote, the red states would then be able to say, no, such and such is president, which is what they tried to do the last time, is throw it back to the states, because there's, even though there are 50 states, more states are red than blue because of the area.
Population distance.
Population density, right? So they would win that way, and they know. And see, here's the thing: they didn't wake up on January 6th and figure that out. They already knew that. They knew, they knew it was a Hail Mary. They like, you know what? We down a lot, but the only way we can win this game is if I throw this Hail Mary and one of my guys in the end zone get the ball. It's a Hail Mary, but if I'm able to throw it, who's to say my guy won't come down with the ball? So that's what they do.
You got a 1 in 10 chance.
Hey, teams practice Hail Marys.
They do.
They do.
2 weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers threw one into the end zone, and it changed the trajectory of my fantasy that week. So, sometimes they do work out. So, just saying. Anyway, but there's a purpose behind all of that, and that's why Trump really leaned into a couple years ago, and he screwed himself by doing this. Don't show up for early voting, and don't do this and don't do that. And then when there was a runoff with Warnock and Ossoff down in Georgia, he ended up losing both Senate seats because he sat there and put so much doubt and confusion into the Georgia elections that the two senators, Kelly Loeffler and the other guy, lost the election.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Warnock, Warnoff and Ossoff. I just said his name. Now I can't think about it. So, but that's how they did that. But more times than not, y'all got to understand that there's a reason why they try to suppress those votes. Don't let them suppress those votes. Get involved. Learn who your candidates are. If you need the county, the board of elections, a lot of times we'll have pamphlets on the different people. Read up on them. Find out what it is that they're voting for. Running about. And listen, I'm gonna make another public service announcement. We are not voting for the holiest person. We are not voting for somebody that has never made a mistake. We are not voting for somebody that helps old ladies across the street, kisses babies, helps cats out of trees, or anything like that. But there still has to be a clear line about the character of somebody that you vote for. It should matter. At some point, y'all, we've turned our elections into, it doesn't matter. There's things that used to be a given that aren't a given anymore. It used to be understood that we shouldn't want to elect somebody for the highest office in the land that is a criminal.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be a far enough stretch to say that we don't want to put a rapist as your commander in chief. It should be said to two gentlemen in front of me that served in the military that you want your commander in chief to consider you losers and suckers.
Exactly.
It should not be where somebody would say at a military ceremony, I don't want veterans showing up that look that way. Giving a nod to people that have been injured in the line of duty in combat. I don't want to, people don't want to see that, is what he said. No, people need to see that because less than 1% of our population is enlisted in the military. There are just certain things that were a given. Now, just recently, and might I say probably a little too late, but Trump's longest running chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired four-star general, had made mention about his time with Trump a time or two before, but he went a lot further with the reporter, and there were some tapes that came out where he's alluded to the fact that on several occasions he's had to remind Trump that celebrating anything that Hitler did is probably not a good idea. When the guy would say stuff like Hitler did some good things, why can't his generals be more like Hitler's generals and things like that? And then he even tied the bow and said, you know, just from everything that I know, man, basically fits all the blanks of a fascist. And while that's damning, and while that would have been damning even more in the past, it's not really that damning for him. And
Wonder why.
And that's the crazy part is, and then when you hear even the story of when COVID was at its full out peak, Trump was sending his boyfriend in Russia COVID testing kits, things that at the time were hard to get a hand on. He was sending it to his boyfriend. And nobody has a problem with that. But there was a time that if a president had done that, they would have been called unpatriotic. That would have been beneath the office. All of it. Hell, Barack Obama was beneath the office for wearing a damn tan suit.
Thank you for bringing that up. Because
this dude sent his boyfriend COVID test while over 30,000 people were dying a month. And dude gets riddled for a tan suit or having to have a damn beer fest with a guy that he said acted stupidly. This dude sends that stuff over. This dude is sitting there wondering why his generals can't be like Hitler's generals. This guy sits there cozy up with white nationalists, does all these other things, and it's all normal. And the mainstream media normalizes it because you hear him say so much crazy shit. Everything just starts to sound the same. And we can't normalize this, y'all.
I have a little theory behind it.
All right. I'll sip some tea while you take.
Okay. I'm just, just going off the cuff here. I think the reason why that is normalized, that his non-presidentialness is coddled and pacified, is because they know the actual reality of the United States cultural vibe. They know the overall cultural vibe is still very much deeply rooted in racism. So therefore, it's different. Y'all can't, but we can. It's bad when you do it, but it's okay. But it's a little different whenever I do it. And that's why, and so whenever I hear the comments like I heard today on like one of the reels when they was asking one of the black, they asked 3 black men. One was voting for Kamala, one was in the middle, and the other one wasn't. Of course, that was done on purpose. But the one that they chose to interview, he said that he would be voting for Trump, one of the first, ain't no one of them. The only thing that came out of his mouth was the very thing that I heard whenever they first voted for Trump. And that was, he speaks his mind. Do you pay attention to his mind?
Mhm.
Or were you just reading off the cue card and collecting that check that they said that they was going to give you for saying that you was going to vote for him? All I'm saying is that my theory is that I think that we have been tossed and pulled in all kinds of ways with big media, with throwing all these proverbial, I mean, not proverbial, but these subliminal messages and everything, to where some people, I get it. Some people really do think that America has progressed, and they probably don't feel like racism exists and stuff because they only live in a very tiny bubble. But for those of us who have experienced life, for those of us who has expanded our globe and stuff, we see the reality of it. And the reality is that America, for the majority, is still very much still deeply rooted in racism. And so when you get this nutball in there and he panders to his base, that's why you still got the white supremacy groups, the Proud Boys, all these other. He knows exactly what he knows exactly who he's talking to. And that's why it looks like these polls and stuff are split.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't doubt most of what you're saying, but where I fall deaf on that is, then why do, and this is a bigger question in general about politics, about people seemingly voting against their own self-interest. And what I mean by that is that voting in a way that does not benefit you. You're
Right.
supporting, it's like supporting somebody that is there to do you harm and voting for them anyway, and potentially enthusiastically.
Right. Okay.
My question is, I hear you about the deep racism. Drain knows where I'm going with this. I hear you with the deep racism part, but then why are there so many? And Drain's ready to answer it too.
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead. Come on, because I want to answer it. Go ahead.
Because you said there were 3 black people. One was in the middle, one was for Kamala, and one was for Trump. Well, if you are the one for Trump and this system is rooted in racism, how is it in your interest to then vote for Trump?
I got I have a response. It may not be the answer, but I do have a response.
Okay. Go for
Do
it.
you remember reading, and because I know my brother Jermaine's gonna take it away from here.
Oh yeah. And
But check this out. You even doing slavery, you had slaves actually falling in love with their slave masters.
Yes.
Take it away, my brother.
I knew you were gonna say that,
my brother.
I knew you were gonna say that.
So, okay, it is. I'm not gonna argue with the ticker. So here's the thing that you got to understand. In the latest polls and stuff, they have VP Harris behind Joe Biden and President Obama in their support for black men. Now, we put that in context. We're talking about she has still 80% of black men. And to what my brother's saying, why would those 20% vote against their own self-interest? To which I would respond, they're not the biggest segment of demographic that does that. It's white women.
Exactly.
They vote against their own self-interest, partially because of the misogynistic society we grew in, where they're taken care of by white men, so they vote for their interests. And because they, when they got the right to vote, when women's suffrage, and and you got to remember that a lot of Republicans would like to go back to women not being able to vote, certain categories of people not being able to vote and stuff. Um, you say to yourself, why? Well, because there are a lot of things that have just been ingrained in us. My husband's the head of the household. Number one, I vote the way that he votes. Number two, it may be against my self interest, kind of, but when you look at issues like abortion and stuff, they tie those issues to single women, not married women. They tie those issues to, it's not against, it's against, it would normally be against you, but you're not in the category of people that we're targeting. It's for these other people. And so why I bring that up, because I believe there are some black men who believe the same thing. One, that they're married to a system, maybe not a husband, but they're married to a system that they're trying to upkeep. And then two, they believe that the things that are targeted towards minorities are to the bad N words, not the good one, like me. Like say, I'm a house in, right, and that's just for the
exactly.
ones out in the field and stuff.
The
And
field
so,
ends,
yeah, that's for them. That's not for me.
I know how to read.
Boss, I don't know why they won't listen to you, and they should be grateful for everything that you give them, boss. But
Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
But the thing too, that so me and my brother were talking about this earlier and stuff.
Yeah.
We had this whole conversation, and I didn't give him that example then, but since our conversation, that was one of the things that we talked about, like why. And
I'm telling you, Grant, I'm going to tell the audience after you're done what started the entire conversation.
Okay.
And that means that I'm going to put some family of mine on blast.
I think the thing with this, whether it be family or friends and stuff, and not necessarily on blast, but there are a lot of people who have, one of the things that we talked about in this conversation before it gets into who and why and stuff, is that in this election and in a lot of elections, because of misogyny, because of racism and stuff, Trump is allowed to be lawless and Kamala has to be flawless.
Woo! I love how you said that.
Say again.
Say that one more again, my brother. Say that one more again.
In this election, because of misogyny and because of racism and stuff, it allows Trump to be lawless and requires Kamala to be flawless.
So we're actually seeing real America play out in real time in front of.
I mean, again,
everybody.
If you're a black woman, this is nothing new for you.
Exactly.
Where you've been mansplained to, your credentials have been questioned. The only reason you have a seat in the room is because of some sexuality to you, or some favor that you might have done. Into which I if I was a woman, I'd be like, well, you can go suck his too. If you think that that's what you need to do to get somewhere. I went to school, but if you think that you need to perform fellatio on this man, then go do it. I think a lot of women relate to this whole situation. Again, we say all this stuff. We got women's rights and issues coming up, and I think that might be if after the election, if there is a balancing of white female votes, and when I say a balancing, I mean at least 50%, because they usually vote in the 60s and 70s. Republican. If it is to change massively, it's going to be because of the abortion issue.
Hey, Jermaine. Hey, Jermaine. I just wanted to throw out with your earlier rhyme and everything. This is the second time this week I've heard something like that. The first was Eminem opening up in Detroit, introducing Obama, and Obama tells everybody how nervous he is coming up behind Slim Shady, and he's like, his palms are already sweaty, his knees
arms are heavy,
his arms are heavy. Mom had on the sweat already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous. On the surface, he looks like he's calm and ready. He's dropped bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd gets so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. Because when he started saying, I was like, wait a minute, let's lose yourself.
Man, when he had reached vomit Bumming on the Twitter already. I knew where you was going with it.
My mouth was
I was like, oh,
oh God.
okay. And then you try to see the little bounce. That
was hilarious. The whole crowd started.
That was good, man. That was good. But you know what? The one thing that I love, and I'm glad you brought him in here, because I was going to say that towards the end of the program, but let's go ahead and slide it in now.
All right.
The one thing that I heard out of that particular speech is the one thing that they should have been saying and going viral with from the very start, when they wanted to bring up Trump's doing good in the economy and everything. I'm like, where was this? Where was this? Where was Obama? Where was Michelle? Because that is just absolute truth. One president, you inherit the last 2 years of what the previous president did.
Well,
and so they wanted to give Trump all this credit about his first 2 years. Yeah, okay, but whose administration was it? It was Obama's.
I think there's some there's an argument to be made about what Trump's big argument is. He's known for branding a lot, right? And so it's big time. That's his thing. And his presidency started a year that campaigning, and so the economic upturn, the markets having more faith and being willing to risk things because of his brand. And this is his argument, not mine. But my branding and my name is what led to a lot of those deals being made because they were confident in the new government that was either coming in or being established. Leading up to the election and then after the election, even if there were some policy decisions and stuff that were left over from the other administration, it was under my administration and under my guidance and tutelage, because you can't come in and F it up. And even if I was just lightly steering the ship, I was still steering. And I understand both sides of that argument. I think one of the things that me and Bro talked about earlier, I was telling him, is that you can't argue policy with people that don't understand policy.
Correct.
It's sort of like when when Trump sat down. What was he, the editor of not the New York Times, but the Bloomberg, and he's telling him that y'all get things wrong and stuff, and he doesn't understand basic economics. Right. And it's like, well, how can you have an intelligent conversation with somebody who doesn't understand the material that you're trying to cover?
Use the smallest words possible.
You can't. You can, you can, but it's still not an effective conversation. If we sat down with a heart surgeon today and he used the smallest words he could to tell us about a transplant, do you think that I'm going to leave that conversation and be skilled enough to do what he was talking about? Even if I have a basic understanding of it, it doesn't mean that I have the skills to perform it. And that's the thing when we talk about policy and stuff. And the reason that I wanted and did not engage with that family member's post and stuff, I saw it because I'm like, well, I have an argument with somebody who can't understand what we're arguing about.
No, that's
what I had a similar conversation, and he's my nephew and my niece, and unfortunately I don't feel confident. I mean, even in the conversation that I had, and like, some people are just stuck, Jermaine. Some people are just stuck. They want to be, it's what I say all the time. They want to be willfully ignorant to the truth or to the reality. And maybe it's because they just can't fathom it. That, like, if I feel like if they really accepted the reality of what is really reality, what is real life, they themselves, they can't handle it. They would probably have a mental breakdown or something.
Well, I think it's somewhat prideful in the way too, is it's easier to stick to a lie than admit that you was wrong. Because then if you were wrong about that, what else could you have been wrong about? You start to pull the thread of what I call reflection
Mm-hmm.
and start to go, well, wait a minute. If I could have been that wrong about Trump,
What else could I have been wrong about?
I've been wrong about. Um, and and
But,
and
but
and
it's
I'm not.
called being humble.
Well, but that's a very rare thing. That's that I got a better chance of finding the Loch Ness monster sometimes than a bunch of humble people. Um, but what really threw me off this week, and what's been throwing me off even before this week, is social media is really insane. And probably after this election, I'm probably going to have to do what I've seen other people do and take a social media break. Like
Oh,
shut,
I have.
like shut,
I have. I
because
have already.
because the more I'm on it, the more I realize how many people, not only stupid, dumb, and ignorant people are on social media, but how many of them I know personally, how many of them I'm related to,
Mm.
um, that make me say, where did you go wrong? Now I have this one cousin.
Oh man, you can't just slide that in there, man. That's
No,
oh my god.
happened to you, like somebody touched you, something happened to you, and you ain't right ever since. And these things. I have this one cousin though, can't read, write, or spell.
Mm.
That is a minister.
What?
hmm hmm
Sis, it's okay. Laugh. Dang.
And
What?
listen. I'm not gonna bash what I call fake Christians. I ain't calling them fake Christian. But what I am saying is, if you profess to be something, understand the responsibility. It's like the manager that likes everybody to see the name tag to say manager, but don't have a damn idea what the job is about.
Yes, sir.
Don't hold a title like that and not understand that, for better or worse, there are people that look up to you that will follow what you say because of that so-called title you have, whether you deserve it or not. It is not for me to decide. But you have it, you wear it, you profess it, and all these things. So, this fool.
That's sad. That's really sad.
The first thing that rattled me the other day was complaining that, do y'all think Kamala believe in God?
Who did what?
Yeah, he said, I don't think Kamala. He said, do y'all think Kamala believe in God? I don't. And then somebody said, well, Trump don't neither. And he said, well, he say he do.
What? Okay.
No, ain't done.
What?
He say he do. Now, this was one day removed from Kamala being down in Atlanta because Usher introduced her before he came to Charlotte and did 2 amazing shows out here. So she was at a black church quoting scripture out of Luke. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but she's there in church, not talking about 2 Corinthians.
Oh, because she's probably reading something out of 2 Corinthians.
And not seemingly awkward being in the church as if the baptismal pool was going to start bubbling.
And not having a paid audience being there, but the actual members of the church.
People that went to that church. Very good point. I didn't even think
okay. All right. I'm just rolling with you.
But this person
on the same page.
Yes, family member of mine who could be watching or not, I don't care. I honestly don't.
I hope they are. Because I'm about to clown the hell out of them.
I don't care. Because whether they were or not, if you put dumbass comments on a public social media platform,
you deserve to get all the smoke.
Shouldn't be no problem with me bringing it out because you didn't say it in confidence to me and I violated our trust. You put it on social media so even somebody in Russia would go, say what? So he put up in there, Trump say he do, and you got all these other people talking about, that's right, you tell it, that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, you tell it what? So I sat there, looked at the post, and I said, you know what, I ain't gonna respond to this dumb shit. I slept on it. I woke back up. I saw more people posting. I said, you know what? Let me just pin something up on this. There has never been a time where we've used whether somebody believes in God as a litmus test or whether they were fit for the office of president.
No,
Joe Biden, I remind people, is a Catholic.
exactly.
We have, again, like Jermaine said, there seems to be this thing where Kamala has to be flawless. Do you think she believes in God? And like I said to him, just because you believe in the man in the clouds, everybody doesn't believe that story. There would be nothing wrong with a Muslim being president. There would be nothing wrong with an agnostic being president. There would be nothing wrong with an atheist being president. Because I will say this one more again as a public service announcement to all you folks out there. America is not a Christian nation. It was not built on Christianity. Okay, y'all can store that with the Loch Ness monster. Y'all can store that with leprechauns,
Easter Bunny and Santa Claus,
and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. They all in the same place.
Right.
America was not built on Christianity.
No, see again. There's a difference between reality and idealism.
What you want it to be, I get that.
What
now,
you want it to be versus what is.
Now, then this fool wasn't done. So then today he posts on there. Kamala says she supports black men. She could have started by marrying one. Yeah.
What the?
But you
see, listen. Just like, okay, see, I had a conversation with someone.
I read that in the Bible.
That was very. You know, when I see comments like that, and especially when it comes from black men.
Yeah.
And I did put that in quotes too. From black men. Shut your hurt behind up. Shut your hurt behind up. Because had you been, I say, qualified, maybe she would have considered you. Okay? You're hurt. You're coming from a hurt place. You're speaking from a hurt place. Everybody got time for your violin. And now you're taking something that you have a problem with and you're projecting it. And that's the reason why you don't want to vote for a black woman that is well qualified to hold this office of power and position. So you need to get over yourself. Yep. And that's the main reason why I feel like some of these brothers won't vote for her. Because them feelings are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing, so part of the conversation that me and my brother were having, I was speaking at him. He gets abused like you guys get abused when we talk. Is that I told him, I said, I really don't listen to this demographic because most of these people either can't vote or won't vote.
Come on, bro. Speak on it.
So it's, I mean, I'm just being serious and stuff.
But you jump in real quick. But do you think when they say that they may be speaking to others that maybe would vote and it could influence the way that they vote?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are a lot of stupid people out there.
Yes.
And seriously, because remember, so flashback to last week, if y'all want to run the tape, one of the things I said is if you're undecided at this point, don't vote. You do more damage than good and stuff because we know who they are.
Exactly.
And what those people who are saying they're undecided, they're not trying to do their own research. They're waiting for somebody or a platform to tell them what to do.
Right.
So to your point, this week, yes, those people could be influential to those undecided people who aren't smart enough to do their own research and are just looking for that voice.
Is it smart or laziness, brother?
Oh,
Is it smart? Thank you.
yes. It's
I mean,
a lot.
I said it in sarcasm.
Yeah.
But is it really smartness or is it just laziness? Someone tell me what to do.
It's the people that wait till the day of the exam and want to cheat off somebody's test.
Look,
Exactly.
look, and so I both sides a lot of things, and I both sides this too. A lot of people look for advice. That's the whole reason that we do reviews.
Yep.
Before I make a major purchase, I research things and I see what other people who have gone through that thing and may have more expertise than me, what they're saying, what the pros and cons are and stuff. And those things weigh heavily in the financial decisions that I make. So it's not unusual for people to look for other people to give them a review of things that they don't feel personally confident in or have very little experience in. That's a very, very normal thing.
Valid. That's fair.
So I don't want to, so I'm like Kamala. I would never say that about the American people.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say
Man,
it.
that was so presidential of my girl, dude.
You know what?
Shit, that was so presidential. I was like, man, I haven't seen that in a minute.
She'll get burned at the coals for giving such a restrained presidential answer.
Calculated.
If Trump comes out and says, "Oh no, there's an enemy from within that's even worse than Putin and Xi and all of them," and then they say, "Well, can you name names?" There's the Pelosi's and Adam Schiff,
Yeah.
and they're like, he's talking about turning the military on people. And then you see these Republicans on the Sunday shows trying to like, oh no, that's not what he said. That's not what he meant. And then they play and they sitting there like.
And so
don't you love that response? The response of total, dead, utter silence.
No, so that's the thing. It would be actually good if it was silence, but it's not silence. It's filled with a lot of other stuff. But just real quick, just to get to wrap up my thing about a lot of these men and what they're talking about, and why they're talking about it and stuff. One of the things that I said, the litmus test doesn't stack up. So if we're talking about greatest of all time, let's use the LeBron and Jordan debate and stuff.
Yes.
The reason that we have that debate is because there are certain accomplishments that Michael Jordan has that LeBron doesn't have. And vice versa. LeBron's the all-time leader scorer. But he only led the NBA in scoring once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordan was like, he did it like 10 times.
All right.
And so we use these things to measure and divide. The thing that's it's not even irony, it's just stupidity, is that all the things that you level against Kamala, Trump can't pass either.
Right.
So when you say, well, she's not a Christian, bruh. When asked about the Bible, it's a very private. His answer to the Bible question is, like, what's your favorite scripture or something like that. Well, that's very private, and because he doesn't have one, and anybody listening to him with an ounce of sense would know that he's just he's blowing smoke, right? Oh well, it's all good to me. Well, what's your favorite part? All of it. and
I mean, I don't pick one over the other.
And again, roll his tape. He said that.
But you know what? You know what's funny? He's unequivocal about the Bible, but I bet you if you say who's your favorite child, he said Ivanka in like half a second.
Yeah. And so the tests applied to Kamala don't even work on your candidate. So why even bring it up? And a lot of people say, well, I'm just saying, well, no, you're not. You're attacking one over the other and stuff.
Exactly.
We talk about, the whole black thing. Well, she's not really black. It's been something that's been levied against Kamala. Guess what?
See, that's what my tell nephew said.
Trump ain't black. Yo, Trump ain't black either.
He ain't black.
Exactly.
And Kamala is black in the fact that she's biracial. And I don't know why people have a hard time understanding that biracial people can claim more than one race.
As many of y'all who grew up talking about I got Indian in my family because of my hair, you know exactly that you can be more than one thing and still be black.
I'm sorry, Lori. It's a little late, but I got to.
Got him. We fucking got him.
You're not gonna
Yes,
sit
sir.
here and play in my face
Listen.
about who is and who's not black, like you some gatekeeper to blackness.
Man, look, she
when-
ain't black enough, she ain't white enough, she ain't Christian enough, she
remember
ain't she's aggressive when she stands on business.
but you know what?
I'm sorry, hold on, I said that wrong. Business. When she stands on business, then she's aggressive. If she kind of like approaches something soft, she evades and so. You're looking for any excuse and every excuse to not vote for this woman, and it's stupid.
I'm gonna ask y'all this real quick though. Y'all remember in 1992 when William Jefferson Clinton ran for president, what black folks were saying about Bill Clinton?
He's the first black president.
Thank you.
The first black president.
Ain't got an ounce of Negro in him. And,
Yeah,
and
all because he played jazz with the saxophone.
And they claim,
and he was in a lot of Negroes.
And he was around a lot of black people, and he was on Arsenio playing the saxophone.
He had a black best friend.
Yeah,
exactly.
That made him black.
Y'all
remember that? Like, I mean, everyone's saying, man, he gonna be the closest thing to a black president we ever get.
But in my point to this whole thing about all these arguments and stuff, like even when it comes, so none of these are policy based because again, they don't understand policy to argue policy. These are all superficial kind of digs and stuff. When they talk about her, she's not being educated enough. They obviously have not looked at her education, and they have not looked at Trump's education. She's not qualified. She's actually one of the most qualified people to ever run for president. So that's not true.
Katanji, oh my God.
Same deal.
Here's the thing about her education. You can actually see her transcripts.
And her health record. And her health record.
You got all of that sealed tight. If you were as smart and a stable genius as you say, open up your Wharton school and show us the records then. You say your uncle that went to MIT and automatically that makes you a genius.
Did you hear how he reacted when he read her health record?
Oh God!
You talk about being stupid out loud.
You're talking about her damn allergies, man.
Allergies,
like bro,
and eczema.
You are severely obese.
Allergies and eczema.
Right. Like sit your fat ass.
And he act like that she was like some walking toxic bomb or something.
That was going to
his base. See, they don't understand those scientific terms because they are not educated. And then for the educated, they're still going to vote for him just because they're loyalists. They're laughing at the dumb people that's still just going to follow him just because of what he said.
Yeah, fact.
Because it just sounds ominous.
So the thing is, me and Jermaine were talking about this earlier, like you said. And one of the things we were talking about though was the fact that they bring up all these things about her that he couldn't pass himself that aren't even true about her. And we came to the thing was, well, it isn't really even about that. And CJ, you pushed it a couple of times too when you said it, and it really comes down to this. And I see the same comparison sometimes with racist people.
Okay.
People like to act racist, but don't like to be called racist.
Woo.
They'll get mad when you call them a racist, but they say racist shit.
Right.
People that are misogynist do misogynist and say misogynist things, but don't want to be identified as one. So then they try to come up with other reasons as to not like the person. But if you sat there and took even a little bit of weight of what they said and played it out, it doesn't make any sense on its face. So the only thing that you can be left with is, listen, I would just simply have more respect for you if you simply said, I don't believe that women should be in positions of leadership.
Just say it. And that's all I was saying. Say, I would respect you more.
My personal belief.
I would respect you more if you just simply say, she's a female and I don't want to vote for her just simply because she's a female.
But just say
it.
I still wouldn't respect you, but at least you can be honest.
Yeah, well, I would respect you for your
I'm
honesty.
sorry, Jermaine. See, look, that was just tongue in cheek.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying.
that's like when your woman say, "Go ahead and tell me. I already know you did it. Just say you did it. You'll feel better. Just say you did it. I know you was there.
You'll
Just
feel better. You'll feel better.
Come on.
You'll feel better.
Really? You will? Okay, baby. I was with all them hoes. I did. Oh, you was?
Oh, you was?
Well, and so the thing about this election and stuff and this cycle is that there is there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of misogyny, but that's what this country was built on. Literally, it was white men enslaving people. So when we talk about it was built on misogyny and racism, it was.
It was.
Listen, if y'all don't believe that, I know y'all don't believe that slavery existed, but I know y'all got to understand at some point women weren't even allowed to vote. Women were considered chattel.
Exactly.
Yes, it was
actually beneath cattle, sir, beneath livestock. Oh, yeah. That's where we found our lineage.
Yes. So
beneath the livestock.
So just because we don't openly practice that stuff anymore doesn't mean that it just automatically disappeared into thin air. And I think a lot of people confuse those two things is that do we practice slavery? No, but there's definitely institutional slavery. I saw Facebook today.
No, actually, and so it just history. Yes, we do. We call them prisons. It is the slavery was never abolished in this country.
Oh, that's true.
Slavery has, and so when I talk about this stuff like this, people are like, oh, this and that. No, what's wild is that today you can't get somebody to come up with a law that says slavery is abolished. That's why I know that y'all still want it.
Listen,
because if you didn't want it, you could move past it completely with another amendment that says no. That amendment left a loophole that we'd like to close, but y'all MFs are like, nah, we're gonna leave that open for a little bit.
Right.
And I will remind y'all that we have a black lieutenant governor that wouldn't mind having a couple of them himself.
Oh yeah, check this out. Hey, brother Jermaine, we can also take it just a little deeper and say our public school system kind of preps you for said slavery system to go into prison. Think about how it's designed.
Well, I'll push back on the design because my belief is that the whole reason we even have public schools is because of the industrial age. The public schools were established because farm hands need to learn how to operate machinery. It's not a prison system pipeline. It is a worker pipeline for minimum wage jobs because somebody has got to get my coffee at Starbucks, and I need them to get my change right.
Yep.
So just enough to get by to keep serving me. I got you.
Yeah.
Now, right. to your point,
is keep the workforce up to then keep the business people up so that they can continue to get all of the spoils.
You see, I told you Trump wasn't racist.
No,
he let us work for him.
And so but to your point, in 2024, the public school system is so underfunded and neglected and stuff. It is a pathway to criminality and stuff because it's not engaging enough and not sufficient enough in its structure and the materials delivered to our youth. That as we start taking away fine arts and stuff, is sports are taken away because
school lunches
and stuff taken away. Does that lead to people in impoverished areas looking for other means to sustain themselves? Because this thing is not going to pay. This thing, the education that I get on the back end is not going to do it.
Yep.
So yes, inadvertently, but not structurally.
But not right. It's not a direct. I got you.
The same reason that Republicans need high birth rates is not because they care about children, they care about
workforce. It all goes into the workforce.
Again,
so you further strengthening my point. You're further strengthening my point when I done told y'all niggas that Trump isn't racist.
So here's the thing.
Everybody was green.
I don't, and I will say this: I don't think necessarily that Trump puts on like a Klan hat. I don't know what to call the pointed hood. I don't know. Is in the comments if there's an official name, let me know. But it's just
Yeah, we'll wait.
I was because I don't know, and I know a lot about it, but I don't know. It just thought to me. I said there's got to be like an official name for it. But I don't think that he's that kind of racist. I think he is institutionalized as a rich man, a white rich man in America who uses the levers of power in his favor. He's racist in that way because he understands labor dynamics. He doesn't want to pay overtime. He's like any other rich boss and stuff, right? He doesn't want time. He doesn't want people working 40 hours a week because he doesn't want to give them benefits because not because he's necessarily that racist, but because that's what benefits American industry. He's industrial racist. I don't think he's not your uncle at Thanksgiving racist.
Right.
Mostly.
And because we don't see that, I say we, but I take that back. Because they don't see that particular racism, then
It's
that's
not-
what.
yeah. Well,
That's why I was being sarcastic in my.
He's around Kanye. He can't be racist.
The goalpost,
Right,
goalpost
exactly.
for racism, since public outrage and consciousness has come about, and since civil rights, this is a post civil rights thing. We're openly talking bad about race and racism and stuff can have some financial consequences. That's the only reason that if it wasn't financially consequential, it would still be going on. But the federal government made it so that businesses couldn't discriminate, and there were a lot of laws from civil rights areas that made it more socially acceptable to be politically correct because it led to funding or the lack of. But you got to understand, is Trump racist? Yeah, he says little things like we know that he has a problem with Mexicans, Spanish people.
Jewish
We
people.
know that he has a problem with black people. We know these things because and when the reason that we bring up the times that he was sued back in the 70s and maybe even the 80s for denying housing, the black people, and all that stuff. DOJ came after him then and stuff. Is because one of the things that we talk about Kamala and stuff that they say, well, she's been in politics or she's been in the government, not necessarily politics, because I guess when you start becoming a DA, that is political. You have to be voted in, but she's been in for 40 years. And why has she done these things? Well, let's go back 40 years on Trump. Let's go back to the 70s. He was this guy. Show me, because he's presenting himself as one thing. He's saying I'm the defender and I stand up for the small guy. Then what about all those people that you stiffed that did work for you? You never paid those small contractors and stuff. What about because you knew that you could tie them up in litigation and it would cost you less in litigation than it would be to pay these people for the contracts? How about somebody who's bankrupt a casino, which the house is in favor to win, and somehow you still messed up the money when you're guaranteed to win?
Not once, but 3 times.
And so
Yeah.
when we talk about all these things in connection of if we're going to compare the candidates apples to apples and stuff, and we're going to look at 40 years or 50 years of history and stuff, show me all these things that you say this person is, not what he told you in the last little bit, but especially before it was consequential.
Or even the concept of having a plan. Not even a plan, but see, we commonly see you supposed to have, we want to see plans, we want to hear her talk about it in detail for detail and break it all down. But Trump get to say, well, I have a concept, but all of a sudden you good with that. You good with the concept, the thought of thinking of a plan. But Kamala has to lay everything out to you, cross every T, dot every I.
And don't get me wrong. Let me be honest. Do I think that, or would she be the prototypical best candidate in my mind? No, absolutely not. Some of the things I have a problem. I have a problem with the relationship America has with Israel, but I am actually smart enough to understand that that's an American relationship, not a presidential relationship.
Correct.
There you go.
That's correct.
And so while I don't like the way America is handling the selling the weapons to Israel, not holding Israel accountable and stuff, things that they could do. I understand that has less to do with who's in the office than what the base of this country believes is their relationship to that country, and that they're our best ally in the Middle East. And for strategic reasons, we need to do this and do that and stuff. And so while again, I don't like what's going on, I do see beyond that. Even if you had a Jill Stein that came into office, a third party candidate and stuff that has promised a lot of things, she couldn't deliver.
Right, because there's certain things. I'll give y'all even a not a better one, but one that's even on the same keel with that. We talked about immigration, and that's a whole nother show for a whole nother day. But these people that talk about they hating the immigrants, the borders overrun and stuff like that. You know why the borders overrun? Because of U.S. policy against South American countries that force the people that can't afford to those embargoes and things that they put on those countries. It forces them up to us, and then we treat them the way that we do. When this policy that is doing it in the first place.
It's also America has had a history of meddling in other countries' politics and stuff. Another show for another day. How we destabilized those countries and made them not just in our embargoes and those economic policies, but going into and disrupting free, talking about free and fair elections and stuff. Like I say, a whole other and again, not the eating the cats and dogs conspiracy theories, things that are noted in American history. Oh yeah, we did that. We did send people in there. We did do these things in these countries at these times and stuff because there was somebody that we wanted empowered. So we tried to, we talk about we don't want foreign influence in our politics.
Chess pieces.
And the reason that we don't is to say, so do you know
why what happens when we do it?
You know why white people are so scared of foreigners coming in? Because they saw what they did to the Indians. It's not that they don't have a knowledge of how bad it could turn for the incumbent residents. They understand that you could be overrun.
Yeah, because there's a saying that we hear: "Ain't no fun when the rabbit
got the gun." That's right. It ain't no fun, baby.
We talk about
see the rabbit with the gun.
We talk about we don't want foreign influence in our elections and how dangerous that can be. We know because we've done it.
Yeah,
exactly. In other words, projection,
big time.
Projection,
big time. Ryan had brought up something earlier about Trump and his branding, and one of the things I wanted to point out before the show ended that I always find absolutely hilarious is Republicans always talk about, and it never makes sense because they say, Trump is better on the economy. Well, the economy is better than it ever has been right now, where we are doing more jobs. Stock market is at all-time highs. And I've never been one to say, well, the stock market dictates a healthy economy. But the thing is that when Trump was in office, he always pointed to the stock market being a measure of that. So it cannot be a measure now to these same said Republicans. Job growth, low unemployment, interest rates, cost of inflation is starting to come back down. Job creation. Here's something that was brought up by Bill Clinton about. He said, I had to look at it a couple of times, make sure I was telling you right. This is what he was talking about, but this is just a snippet of it. This is job creation by Republican versus Democrat. Check this out right here. I'm going to show y'all this on my screen. You can see other than Ronald Reagan creating 16 million jobs during his time in office, no Republican has ever, outside of that, created more jobs than Democrats.
That is true.
There's one that lost more than when he came into office.
Do my eyes deceive me, or do that say Trump? 45.
So a lot of people will push back on this for the Trump. They can't really push back against much of anything else, but they'll push back on the Trump one. Because what they're going to say, and so you have to look at this in a couple different ways too. If I start a company in the first year, I make $500,000. The second year, I make $1 billion. The third year, I make $3 million. By year 10, I'm making $10 million and stuff. And then year 11, I make $10 million. It could be simply because I have reached uh, uh, the the top of my earning potential for that product that I have, and that it's hard to create. So let's say and I don't see the numbers anymore, but after Reagan and stuff, he created so many jobs. How do I create more jobs after that? And it may be hard and stuff. Maybe Obama created so many jobs, it was hard for Trump. But that's not the problem. The problem is that he lost so many jobs, and they'll point to the pandemic, that a lot of jobs were lost during the pandemic and stuff. What I'll point to is that it was his policies and the ineptitude and how he handled the pandemic that led to those.
Yep.
So a lot of people will say like those last few years can't be blamed on Trump, and I say that he fully holds it. Look,
yes, sir.
y'all, a lot of people forget that Obama had his own pandemic that he just handled. Ebola, which had not been seen for a while, was set to make a comeback.
Yeah,
exactly.
In the crash of 2000.
And what it was, and thank you for saying that, Jermaine, because again, I had a conversation with someone that's near and dear to me, and we was just speaking on that particular subject alone. Trump simply did not want to refer back to the previous administration's way of handling epidemics, pandemics, whatever the case may be, because it came from that Negro that was in office previously before me. Period.
No, I'll push back on that just a little bit. What the problem was is that Trump's a branding guy, and he thought it would look bad if he handled it that way. It was really just a perception thing. He was more concerned about how it was perceived and how it was actually handled. And so because he was more about that than the substance of what was needed to be done in order to handle the pandemic, he didn't want the stock market to go down. He didn't want, because everything was buzzing along and stuff. And again, as we look for Bob Woodward, I don't know why Trump keeps sitting down with him for all these damn books and stuff, but Trump was very much aware and knew how bad it could get. He just believed he knew better, and his belief was it'll get bad, but then by summertime, this is like most viruses. It'll go away.
I remember that.
It'll be okay and stuff. And so again, that's why he was giving stuff out to Putin. That's why he was, he didn't use the resources and the mechanisms, again, the levers of power, federal government. Just like he sat by on January 6th and let stuff get out of hand, he sat by and let the pandemic get out of hand too, by denying it when he knew better.
Absolutely.
And so he owns that $2 million loss because of how he handled it. So for everybody saying, well, that was the pandemic, no, that was Trump.
And here's the question. If that had been Obama instead of Trump, would you give Obama a pass for the pandemic?
No, they would actually, Republicans, and I'm not even in jest, would have tried to prosecute him for murder.
Correct.
Oh yeah, he would have been impeached for murder. He would have.
Yeah, they would brought charges.
Please believe that.
They would have tried to bring charges. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up, y'all, but I wanted to just give my closing comment earlier about this whole thing about misogyny. And we had Jermaine with a nice rhyme.
I stole that, by the way. I should own up to that by the end of the show.
That's fine. We know you did. But there's also another poet that I would like to quote when it comes to women and women being in positions of authority.
Let it be Rudy Ray Moore.
No, it ain't Rudy Ray Moore. That is another great poet that I draw a lot of inspiration from every single day. But this poet actually said, and I know they like to beat you down a lot. When you come around the block, brothers clown a lot. But please don't cry, dry your eyes, never let up. Forgive, but don't forget, girl. Keep your head up. And when he tells you what you don't believe him. And if he can't learn to love you, then you should leave him. Sister, you don't need it. And I ain't trying to gas you up. I just call it how I see it. You know what makes me unhappy? Is when brothers make babies and leave a young mother to be a pappy. And since we all came from a woman, got our name from a woman, and I came from a woman, I wonder why we take from our women, why we rape our women, hate our women. I think it's time to kill for our women, time to heal our women, be real to our women. And if we don't have a race of babies that will hate the ladies that make the babies. And since a man can't make one, he has no right to tell a woman when and where to create one. So will the real men get up? I know you're fed up, ladies. Keep your head up.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
They do. Keep your head up, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Any girl dads out there?
Let the church say amen.
We're gonna push up. We're gonna push against that. All three of us girl dads. We are not gonna sit there and let men try to tell our daughters that they are lesser than and they can never be more than. And we shouldn't not push Kamala because she is a woman, but we should not hold her back because she is.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'll close on that. Thank y'all for tuning in for another week. Thank my panel, Lori Parker, Jermaine Parker, CJ Jones for joining in. We will see y'all again. You ready, Lori? You ready? Okay, she looks like she's ready. Okay. We will see y'all again next week. Y'all take it easy. Peace.
This is ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.